Good afternoon and welcome to the 2012 USA Rugby Emirates Airlines D1 Championship. My name is Phaidra Knight of USA Rugby, and I am joined by Ines Rodriguez of USA Rugby, and we're going to provide you with a little bit of commentary today as this match takes off.
Hello, Phaidra. Thank you.
Absolutely.
And welcome everyone to sunny Florida. We're here in Fort Myers at the Fenway Park South field, and it looks to be a lovely day for rugby.
Beautiful day for rugby. Two incredibly competitive teams, Ines, coming in both with undefeated records to this point. What do you anticipate happening?
I anticipate a very hard fought match. Both teams, like you said, are undefeated this season. Come back to this championship with a very impressive record. So I anticipate a very long, hard-fought match, and we'll see who comes out as the winner.
I think it's very noteworthy to mention that, both teams either showcase former 15s USA players or current USA players. ORSU with two Eagles that will be joining this European tour coming up later in November, San Juanita Marino and Shaw Blaney. And then, of course, the Harlequins, Harlequins featuring Patty Jervey, a legend in the sport, along with Heather Hale and Tasha Menino has had some time in the U.S. jersey.
Absolutely. Lots of Eagles on the field. We just had our kickoff, so let's see what these two teams have to show.
Absolutely. And they are off. Bulleting kick down the field. Looks like Beckett Royce recovers, and she's off. I tell you, if you get the ball in the hands of Beckett, you may have a problem, as the Harlequins will see as the game unfolds.
Absolutely. She is a dangerous player with ball in hand as well as defense. So I am very excited to see what she's going to be showing us today. As we mentioned earlier, lots of Eagles on this team, lots of former Eagles, and I think two very hungry teams that just want to come out with a Division I championship today.
I had a conversation with Candy Orsini before the game. Candy, former U.S. backline coach and former Eagle herself. We were discussing how, coming into this game, this one game this weekend, it plays an advantage to some of the older players simply because they don't have to worry about two-game weekend. The recovery is less of an issue, and it could make for some really high-level rugby.
Absolutely. It's important for our viewers, our listeners, to keep in mind that this is the only game that these two teams will be playing this weekend. So they've come out hungry and they're ready to go.
And there you have it. That's first to draw blood are the Harlequins. Picked off that pass. That's number 11 for the Harlequins. And not Patty Jervey.
Not Patty Jervey.
We'll get a name. We'll get a name on that. That's Lauren Watt. We'll just call her Lauren for now. Lauren Hart, I believe that is.
Lauren Hart?
Yeah. She dots down 5 points for the Harlequins, setting up a 10-point conversion for Heather Hale right in front of the post. Sometimes those are the hardest kicks to make.
Sometimes
right in front
they
of the
are.
Post.
It is a little bit windy today. There's wind coming out of, I think, the east, and it's a little bit gusty. It's calm right now, but the gusts do pick up, so it's going to be important for the kickers to really place their kicks very well and have it come off their foot very well. So let's see what Heather Hale can do here.
Heather, one of their Eagles, former
and
Eagles.
She makes it look easy. She slots it right through the post.
Absolutely.
Bringing the score 7-0 to Atlanta.
Wind is going to, like as you said, wind is certainly going to be a factor in this match. We saw it as a factor on Friday during some of the WPL matches. Ball placement, strategy and kicking will be, I think, key elements in this match.
Absolutely. I think we talked a lot on Friday about fundamentals, and that is really going to hold true today. I think any time that there's a little bit of uncontrollables due to the weather, then the teams that really perform well are those that have adherence to their fundamentals.
Absolutely. Well, Beckett Royce is going to be kicking this ball off to the Harlequins. Nice high kick there. Looks like ORSU is not engaging in these rucks early on, at least in this first phase of play. See if their strategy works out for them. And that ball is kicked into touch.
It's a very nice kick by Heather Hale. Absolutely. To relieve some of that pressure. And we'll have a line out here to ORSU. Now the referee's bringing it back. It seems like there was an infraction before the kick, so ORSU has chosen to have a scrum at the original point of the kick. So we're going to have a scrum down here to ORSU.
Well, that changes things quite a bit. Excellent field position for them to launch an attack here. Noteworthy to mention our sponsors who've made it possible for us to be here, every team, and actually USA Rugby. Big thanks to Emirates Airlines, our exclusive airlines, Gatorade, exclusive supplier of sports performance beverages, Canterbury, and AIG.
And we see the Atlanta Harlequins take one against the head and mount a bit of an attack, but there's a quick turnover. And now ORSU has the ball again. And the referee's bringing it back to, I believe, a knock-on, the original knock-on.
And that's going to be a scrum down to ORSU. So we're within the first 10 minutes of this match. Score Atlanta 7, ORSU 0.
I want to take this opportunity to announce the game roster for ORSU. Starting at number 1, Melody Glasgow. Number 2, Callie Lathrop. Number 3, Adrian Acosta. Number 4, Megan Adams. Number 5, Te Awina Hochi, who is the captain today. Number 6, Nicole Garcia. Number 7, Molly Luft. Number 8, Sharon Blaney. Number 9, Robin Woods. Number 10, Tony Fujiwara. Number 11, Alexis Bonney. Number 12, Anna Simons. Number 13, San Juanita Moreno. Number 14, Crystal Franklin. And number 15, Beckett Royce. And Beckett Royce is usually in the number 7 jersey, is she not?
Usually in 6 or 7, playing flanker, but obviously showing her depth as an experienced rugby player. And wearing the number 15 jersey, manning down the fullback position today. And representing Atlanta Harlequins in this starting lineup, Carmel Glenn wearing the number 1 jersey, and number 2, Keita Sutton, number 3, Sharon Law, number 4, Michaela O'Connor, number 5, Carly Harrington, number 6, Tia Brosser, number 7, Liz Snodgrass, number 8, Madeline Wilbanks, number 9, Crystal Phillips, number 10, Heather Hale, number 11, Lauren Hart, number 14, Suzanne Uchnecht, number 18, Patty Jervey, who's not on the field right now, number 13, Tasha Menino, number 15, Jess Wooden.
And Tasha Menino's back for this final championship game, but she had spent much of the season on the DLS after suffering a knee injury. So it'll be nice to see her back.
And that is Patty Jervey. That's the legend in the game. Taking the ball, breaking out. Clearly showing that age is not anything other than a number. love to see that. It's amazing. Putting the Harlequins in really good field position as they continue to mount their attack, put pressure on ORSU here.
It's clear that Jervy and Menino have really played together for a very long time. They seem to read each other's moves quite well. You saw Tasha Menino there coming up on the side and taking a little pop pass from Jervy as she skirted around the defense. That's the kind of experience that really is going to be hard for a very young defensive line to keep down. So we'll see how ORSU is able to shut down that attack.
Yeah, there is more experience just in that back line than there is altogether on that ORSU team, and I think that's going to probably play to the favor of Atlanta here today. And Heather Hale is going to be attempting 3 points to increase that deficit for ORSU. She's playing with the wind to her back, so it gives her an advantage in getting this.
It's about a 30, 35 meter kick right here. And with that wind gust, it might just be enough to help her carry that over.
It's just wide. So we're still at the score, or with the score, 7 Atlanta, 0 ORSU, as ORSU brings the ball out for a 22 dropout. Again, if you're just joining us, we welcome you to the 2012 USA Rugby Emirates Airlines D1 Championship match. My name is Phaidra Knight with USA Rugby, and I am joined by Ines Rodriguez of USA Rugby. We're happy to have you here on this beautiful Florida day.
Bit of a mishandle, but recovered by the Harlequins, and we see some dynamic running from the fullback.
That's number 15, Jess Wooden.
And a penalty to the Harlequins. We'll see how they take this attack. It looks like Heather Hale's going to be kicking to touch so they can set up a line out.
Officiating today, we have head ref Leah Berard and assistant refs Jim Rogers and Mike Kelly, working hard to keep this game moving.
Have to say the referees have been top-notch this entire weekend, and we know that they've been working really hard. They've been, when they're not on the field refereeing games, they've been in classes all the entire weekend, so thank you to them for their hard work.
Absolutely. Quality of refereeing certainly plays a huge role in the flow of the game, and they've done a very good job at keeping the game flowing. You know, haven't seen any, I don't think we've seen any, well, at least in the games that we've been watching, yellow cards, which is pretty impressive and a testament to the players as well as the patience of the refs.
Absolutely. I think it's incumbent on the referees to sometimes talk players out of making some of these penalties, and I think when we get into these higher level matches with higher level officiating, we see some of those problems like yellow cards and red cards
Absolutely.
simply go away.
We have an ORSU line out. Wind is a factor. Wind is a huge factor with these throws. And I'm guessing that ORSU's going to try to just secure ball for a kick just to relieve some of this pressure. They're deep in their own territory. Not the most ideal place to be, and indeed they do that. That ball does not find touch, but the defense is up. The Harlequins can get this ball out to their key players.
And a bit of a mishandle brings the ball back into ORSU's hands. see what they're able to do with it.
And Atlanta is putting a great deal of pressure on them in these rucks, but they get dinged for, I think, not sure what that indicator was, but penalty assessed against Atlanta. ORSU continues to walk their way down the field.
So neither team having much luck with the line out so far, but ORSU choosing to kick the ball to touch for another attempt at a line out here.
You know, that last line out was a long throw, and I don't know if I'd try that, especially in that region of the field, with the winds being such an issue. Safer throw to one, which they just did, sets a better platform for those backs to launch an attack.
So
And
this is really the first time that the ORSU backs have had a chance to run with the ball, and a bit of a mishandle. But they retain possession.
And Atlanta's really putting on the pressure again in those rucks. ORSU catches a bit of a break there. Will retain possession on the scrum, or at least on the put in. So at just under 20 minutes elapsed in this match, we're still at a score of 7 Atlanta, 0 ORSU. It's interesting, I'm looking through some of the profiles of the team, you know, and it's interesting to see Atlanta and the fact that they've actually been explosive offensively. They've scored over 400 points in all of their 8 matches and allowed only 25 points. It's extremely impressive stats coming into this match. They play as a team, and they have an amazing team culture. And team culture, you know, is a defining quality of most of the teams here. They're very supportive, great coaching, and they're all about unit and how they play, you know, their distinctive roles to make it work. They're young. They have a great mix of young and old players, and to be able to have that kind of chemistry and culture with that type of mix, it's a gift. It's an amazing gift, and it's a rare thing. So, you know, that's incredible, and it's really showing here in their play today.
Yes, I couldn't agree more. I think, again, we see that experience take over. Patty Jervey finding little holes in the ORSU defense to put her outside backs away. Now we see
I think the ball was a try?
No.
Unclear?
I don't think so.
Okay, 22.
Yeah.
I didn't see the hand of the ref go up, but I wasn't sure.
But it was very close to being a try.
Absolutely, that was just beautiful ball movement, great passes, not too long, very short. So it's as you said, that experience is showing in terms of committing to the basics and performing them well. That will be again a key in all the matches. It has been all weekend, and recognition of those things.
That's right, Phaidra. We have seen that it really is the teams that are adherent to the fundamentals of the game that are coming through victorious.
I want to give a big thank you to some other USA Rugby sponsors. Big thank you to Gilbert and World Rugby Shop, the Sports Authority, Bank of America, and Hilton Hotels. We are staying over at the Hilton Garden Inn this weekend, and it's been awesome. The service has been great.
Very comfortable beds.
Very comfortable beds.
ORSU back with the ball, keeping it tight into their forwards, trying to draw in that Atlanta defense and trying to spread it wide, but it seems that Atlanta has come out with the ball.
Yes, and they are essentially controlling the tempo and pace of this match so far. Played a lot of the game in the end of the field of ORSU. And they're knocking, it seems like knocking on the door. Potentially another try.
We've had a lot of back and forth in this game so far. The majority of the game has been spent inside the 240s. Two strong defensive teams we're looking at here.
Yeah, we are. There's a nice strategic kick. Very well placed. We want to remind you that our USA Women's Eagles will be going on their European Fall Tour later this month. And almost all the players on the tour are playing this weekend in club championships. So before they depart, actually this Tuesday, they're asking all of you out there listening and watching to take part in a 5-day challenge. Now, a generous and anonymous supporter has agreed to match up to $4,000 for gifts received today or this weekend through November 13th. And currently, we're about $1,500 short of capping that $4,000 amount. So if you really want to see your money go double essentially, donate. And I'll tell you where exactly where you can dig deep and donate. You know, if 1,500 people are out there listening and watching, it only takes $1. Takes $1.
Not even a cup of coffee.
Not even a cup of coffee, right? So you go to www.usarugby.org/Women's Eagles, and you can also follow the Eagles at USA Eagles Rugby and www.usawomensEagles.com. If you want to show your support on Twitter, do so by hashtag WRugby and the hashtag 5-day challenge.
Well, we've seen some really dynamic play right now, seeing some really dynamic play by the Atlanta Harlequins. They really are showing themselves to be very dangerous when they get the ball into their backs' hands. ORSU is doing a very good job with their forwards to try to keep those rucks contained and really prevent that ball from spreading out past the Atlanta fly half.
And we're going to take a minute for an injury here. Looks like number 7, Liz Snodgrass, is down, being checked out by our trainers.
ORSU is a former WPL team that voluntarily dropped out of that league to compete in the Division I competition. And they seem to have found success within this D1 championship. They suffered some losses, and due to lack of depth, they were forced to make that decision. But it seems to have worked out well for them.
Absolutely.
And again, the Atlanta back showing that if given space, they can be very dangerous.
Yes. The experience certainly shows, maturity shows. Now we have offsides call against ORSU. ORSU's racking up the penalties this match. That's something they need to be aware of. Turning over ball and or putting themselves in a position where they're on the defend.
We see a big kick by Heather Hale to set up a Harlequins line out just outside of the 22.
you know, these Atlanta players, they're made of they're Atlanta, but they're comprised of players that commute from over 6 states. They got players coming from obviously Georgia, Alabama, Tennessee, South Carolina, North Carolina, and Florida to play together. They've got one player, actually Crystal Phillips, who flies in from Miami weekly to train with them. Some dedication.
That is dedication, absolutely. And we see Tasha Menino with her hard running, busting through a hole and offloading after a stiff arm. And unfortunately, the ball is turned over. And ORSU kicks to touch, but it does not find touch. And the Harlequin backs mount an attack again.
Now the tables are turning a bit on these penalties. Atlanta being marched back 10 meters. It looks like the ORSU's going to go for a kick to touch. Set themselves up for a line out. If you look closely at the ORSU jerseys, you'll notice that they're wearing a unicorn on the sleeve. In June of 2010, they lost a vibrant heart and soul of their team, Lindsay Babb, to a horrific act of domestic violence. So they wear this unicorn on their sleeve in honor of her, and so that they don't forget that her spirit is still out there with them every moment they play.
That is a touching tribute, and I'm sure that they use that as a source of inspiration and motivation to play hard each and every match.
Absolutely.
Neither team really seeing much success with their line-out platforms right now.
And it looks like ORSU comes away with that scrum. But a mishandle results in a turnover, and then another turnover by Atlanta. And ORSU now showing their skills in the back line, their ability to connect. Patience is going to be a key here. Now they make a
This is the first real opportunity
attack.
that
Absolutely.
ORSU had with the ball in hand, and they've shown themselves to be very dangerous
Absolutely,
runners.
with a mix of runners. They have forwards and backs to forwards, offloading. Incredible. That's great teamwork. That was an excellent team try.
And that was a try touchdown by number 3, Adrian Acosta. Always exciting when a prop can score a running
single-digit
try.
number scoring tries is awesome. It's awesomeness for every
I'm
prop
sure she
out
feels
there.
good about herself.
Yeah,
right
and I think
now.
every prop out there is watching feels pretty good.
That's good.
That brings our score Atlanta 7, ORSU 5. Beckett Royce is going to attempt this conversion. Got the wind against her, making it a tough kick regardless, but
It's a steady wind with some gusts if she can just
looks like she times it well.
time it very well.
And that
She slots it through.
that we have a tie match here. Atlanta 7, ORSU 7.
And just over 25 minutes played in this half. And we have a tied match. So far, very, very well, evenly matched teams. Both teams have shown themselves to be dangerous in their outside runners. Both teams with very strong and commanding forwards that are able to maintain the ball in the tight play.
And it's noteworthy to mention the back lines have looked quite impressive. Obviously, ORSU not having a lot of time or possession in the back line, but certainly Atlanta doing an impeccable job when they have had ball in hand and moving it well. Minimization of errors has been critical for that, for them. The basics, the basics. We talk about them all the time, but they are so key, fundamental to this game.
And we have a Atlanta player receiving some medical attention right now.
This is the time of the game, Ines, when most teams enter a bit of a lull in this first half. Not so much seeing a lull. I mean, ORSU's come back, you know, tie the ball game.
Absolutely. Atlanta scored right off the bat. Maybe 5 minutes of play, and they had already touched down for their first try. It might have seemed like Atlanta was going to just steamroll this team, but ORSU has really shown that they're a force to be reckoned with. They deserve that undefeated season that they've brought into this competition, and they answer back with the try of their own. So we'll see how this half will play out. But right now, I see two very evenly matched teams, both fighting hard to punch through.
Absolutely. Two different game styles, you know. Looks like the ORSU's really reliant on their entire squad, and although, you know, Atlanta's forwards are doing a great job, their backs have done an incredible job of moving the ball down the field.
Absolutely. Just also two very good defensive lines. Not many holes out there. We've seen Patty Jervy and Tasha Menino exploiting just a few of the small holes that are out there. But other than that, really no. It hasn't been a wide open running game.
Has not. Yet another penalty called against Atlanta.
These two teams continuing to choose the line out in these penalty situations, and really neither team showing much of an attack off of that line out platform. It really begs the question about whether they're just trying to stick to their game plan despite the wind, or or really what they're thinking. Maybe changing that strategy into a tap and go, trying to speed up the game a little bit. But neither team really showing that right now.
No, I'm sure that's one of the things that both head coaches will probably address at halftime of this match.
And line out, not in straight.
Free kick, actually, Ines. Not sure what the call was on that, but actually may have been Hooker double clutching the ball.
And we see our first tap and go with free kicks. The ball is live and the ball is in play. Therefore, if it goes straight into touch, the line out will be brought back to the point of the kick. So with free kick situations, teams are forced to change their strategy and keep the ball in play. But we see another line out. Ball kicked into touch by number 10, Heather Hale, and another line out to ORSU.
And they choose to go to the back of the line out, which absolutely results in the ball not being thrown straight. The ball has to be thrown down the middle between the two teams, down the tunnel, as they call it. And with this wind, it doesn't surprise me that that ball was not straight.
Absolutely, it's a very strong wind. It's very difficult. It's a very hard, difficult, but learned skill for a hooker to be able to throw that ball pin straight right down the middle of the tunnel. And then it takes really just high caliber players to be able to negate the effects of the wind. And we see both teams continuing to choose lineouts and really not having much success.
Right.
We've seen quite a few not straight calls so far.
And not only just choosing lineouts, but the choice of where they throw the ball. You know, it begs the question, like as you said earlier, what the strategy is with that. But the wind, certainly something again that I think that they'll discuss at halftime.
Absolutely. We just saw a Atlanta score off of actually a quick tap penalty very close to the line there, and they slot one over for the try, giving Heather Hale an opportunity to convert this. Brings the score
12 Atlanta, 7 ORSU.
So windy, the ball just fell off the tee, forcing Hale to reset it.
I know you guys out there think we're talking about the wind a lot as much as we're talking about the teams, but it's so much of a factor, as you know. And that kick is good. Brings our score 14 Atlanta, 7 ORSU.
We have about 6 minutes left in this half, and Atlanta putting a little bit of breathing room between them and ORSU.
For all of you that are maybe new to rugby watching us, when a team scores in 15s, they have the luxury of receiving the ball back, as you can see. Or at least they have the opportunity of receiving the ball back.
And a missed kick by Beckett Royce. She attempted to put a high up and under kick for her forwards to receive right on the 10-meter line. Unfortunately, that kick does not go 10 and results in a Atlanta scrum at the 50-meter mark.
Atlanta's got, this is a great opportunity for Atlanta to tell a great story. They've got 2 open avenues to attack here.
Absolutely. They have Patty Jervey set up on the right side of the field on what would be the weak side. So it looks like they may be going to her if they can win this ball.
They certainly set up an excellent platform with that scrum. Forwards are out there doing their dirty work to create some good space for their backs. And that is a penalty called against ORSU again. Player leaving their feet. You have to go into a ruck situation and maintain your footing. Shoulders above hips. Once that changes, once that no longer exists, you're considered off your feet. It results in a penalty. And that's what happened. Now Atlanta would be wise to be conservative on this line out. They have great field position. There's no reason to rush. They maintain a 7-point lead right now, and they do that. That line out didn't count, but that was a great throw to number 1.
The Atlanta line out is on the 22-meter line, almost in the ORSU red zone.
Bit of misfortune there.
Miscommunication between 9 and 10 leads to a knock-on and an ORSU scrub.
Again, I'm Phaidra Knight for USA Rugby, and I'm joined by Ines Rodriguez, USA Rugby. And we're here talking you through this
Florida.
match. Yeah, here in sunny Florida. Beautiful day. Life doesn't get better than being able to watch rugby. The highest level of rugby in this country, in fact. Highest level of club rugby. Club rugby.
There are other games going on today. In the adjacent field, we have Beantown playing against the Twin City Amazons for a 3rd, 4th place match. And earlier today, we had the Division II National Championship that was won by the Pittsburgh Angels, so congratulations to them.
Yes, I'm sure they will be, they're happy they're done. Yeah, kick their feet up a little bit. Probably enjoying some champagne.
I think I saw some champagne flowing when they were awarded.
There are going to be a lot of bottles popped today, I think.
Absolutely. Maybe someone will give one to us.
Maybe. Maybe not.
Maybe not. I think we deserve it.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
This half is quickly running to a close. Maybe about a minute left in play. And really just not much action so far. We've seen a lot of lineouts in the last few minutes that are continuing to try to set a platform from that.
Yes, Ines. Line out after line out. Scrums have been pretty well contested. Atlanta, you know, showing some slight dominance. But many lineouts, and under these conditions, is not ideal. Another penalty assessed here against Atlanta, holding on to the ball. Once a player is tackled, they must release the ball immediately, just as the tackle player must release the tackler must release the tackle player.
ORSU trying to set up an attack within their forwards and really just punching up the ball. We have an advantage to ORSU as they maintain possession in that tight forward play.
Consider this kind of a free play for them. Now's the time to take a chance. Still advantage to ORSU. It looks like that advantage is over. And that's going to be half, Ines. We are at a score, Atlanta 14, ORSU 7, as we conclude this first half of a pretty well fought match so far.
Absolutely. This has been a very good match so far, very tight game. It seems that both forward teams are just really trying to keep the ball in tight, and we haven't seen much action from the backs. What little action we have seen has been really exciting thus far, but not too many ball touches for those backs.
Not so much, and I'm sure they're going to have a discussion about that in this halftime period, along with some of these line-out decisions, and probably going to see a slightly different strategy going into the second half.
I would think so. I mean, this wind doesn't seem like it's dying down. If anything, it's picking up, so it really does. It would appear that a change in the game plan would be warranted.
Absolutely. Well, we'll see you in the second half in a short while. Thank you.
Come back.
Welcome back. Second half action of the 2012 Women's USA Rugby Emirates Airlines D1 Championship. Ines, these teams have had an opportunity to talk it over at halftime. You think we're going to see a different thing in the second half?
I think so. I think we're going to see a little bit of a change in strategy. I think hopefully both coaches have talked to their teams about how strong this wind is and how important it is to the game plan, to change that game plan. But I think we're going to see a little bit more action from the backs. That's what I'm hoping.
I hope so too. I want to see some fireworks. I want to see Patty Jervy score 3 tries. And Beckett Royce.
Well, you'll see it soon. We just had our kickoff.
Excellent. And they are off to the races again. Penalty going going against ORSU very early on here in the second half. And that ball goes right through the try-zone. Will result in a 22 dropouts. Now, we'll see how ORSU takes advantage of this win. Atlanta did a fairly decent job of trying to take advantage of it. Heather Hale with an enormous foot with her kicking did a very good job, and now ORSU has that opportunity to win to their back.
We really did see Heather take advantage of it, and she kept placing these very well placed kicks into the deep corners of the field, using that wind to her advantage. We should see ORSU gain their own advantage from this wind. And we had spoken about earlier perhaps a change in strategy. We saw a quick tap. We saw ORSU take a quick tap penalty with San Juanita Moreno kicking it and taking it herself. Unfortunately, she was without any support and ended up losing the ball.
Yeah, knocked the ball on.
So it's important to when players take these quick tap penalties, it really needs to be kind of a team mindset rather than an individual player mindset. Sometimes what you'll see is there's a player that's frustrated because things aren't maybe going the way that they want them to be, and you'll see them take the quick tap penalties on their own, and unfortunately that never ends up very well for them. You'll see them get isolated, and then that ball will be quickly turned over. But if the team is really on the same page, that can be a very dangerous attack with lots of support there to take the ball forward. So,
and I believe that was a barge called against essentially Atlanta on that scrum, resulting in a penalty to ORSU. But again, ball retention being a challenge here, they turn the ball over yet again. Patience, and you're so point on. You know, rugby is an incredible sport. It's a place where everyone who plays it, we love it, we relish it, but it's also a pool for emotions, and you have to be able to maintain a level head, coupled with balance of emotions when you play this game. So every decision you make, it must be a decision, a decision well thought out.
Absolutely, and now we see Tasha Menino with ball in hand, trying to bust through the ORSU defense. And she is stopped, but the Harlequins are able to come out with the ball.
And that's number 7, Liz Snodgrass, looking like she's gonna put it down for Atlanta, and she does find the try-zone. Great running there, very evasive, agile running. And that brings our score, Atlanta 19, ORSU 7. Atlanta is furthering this gap, putting more distance between the two. It looks like Liz may be down after that score.
She was tackled by San Juanita Moreno in the try-zone. Nothing dirty or dangerous happened, but maybe she just wasn't quite expecting or bracing for that tackle.
Yeah.
So we see her being attended to. Hopefully she'll be.
I think that shoulder is a little problematic for her. She was getting some attention on the sidelines earlier in the first half, I think, for the same issue. End of season is typically a time when the bodies are tired.
Absolutely.
Yeah, pushing for that last drop of blood. Heather Hill attempting this conversion just in front of the post. And that kick is good. Bringing our score 21 Atlanta, 7 ORSU.
And we're starting to see a little bit more daylight between these two teams.
Yes, we are.
Atlanta putting themselves into a more comfortable position, into a more comfortable lead.
And ORSU having to essentially dig themselves out. It's a two converted try game right now. They have plenty of time, no doubt, but they've got to certainly change their game plan and how they're attacking.
Absolutely.
Minimize
About
these
5
penalties.
minutes gone in the second half. Not much different than what we saw in the first half, with Atlanta drawing first blood early on in the game.
Atlanta is just mounting this attack.
We see some quick ball movement through the hands of the Atlanta backs. Not necessarily going to hand, but they're able to retain possession.
ORSU is forced to turn over as they try to make their way down into the territory of Atlanta. Bit of a miscue there, but ORSU does end up fortunate to retain that ball. Nice big run there by the number 3, who dotted down the first and only try for ORSU. And they continue to add momentum to their attack here.
Another quick tap penalty taken by San Juanita Moreno, looking to really just make something happen on her own, this time with a little bit of support from Beckett Royce.
Yes, those are 2 Eagles, either former or current, showing their experience, showing their feistiness and determination. It looks like they're in.
And they answer with their own try.
Absolutely. 5 points.
Not a team that's going to just lay down and roll over and allow the Harlequins to dictate this game.
That brings the score ORSU 12, Atlanta 21. So this game is very far from being over from a time perspective as well as an actual, competitive perspective. These teams are not going to quit. This is a national championship. There is no reason to quit. There's nothing after today for a few months. So it's
nothing
all
but
out.
rest after today, right?
All out, absolutely. You give it all you got, every bit, spend it all. There's always someone, and based on what I know of these teams, they have depth, so there are people waiting on the bench. When all you have has expired, then there's someone there waiting for you to come in and take your place. So.
Beckett Royce here looking to convert that try.
And it looks
She
good.
does so with ease.
Absolutely.
That try set up by San Juanita Moreno, who took it upon herself to take a tap and go, was supported by Beckett Royce, and then set up a nice forward play from a ruck platform leading to the try, showing that it really does take 1 through 15 to score in this game of rugby.
Brings our score Atlanta 21, ORSU 14. I'm Phaidra Knight with USA Rugby, and I'm joined by Ines Rodriguez of USA Rugby, former USA Sevens and 15s athlete. Need to give a big thank you to the sponsors that make this tournament possible, make all of this possible for us. Big thank you to Emirates Airlines, Gatorade, Canterbury, and AIG.
See Beckett Royce with ball in hand. She is a tough player to tackle. She's
got those long legs.
4 players and still retained the ball and was able to offload it.
Long legs, tough as nails. It's hard to tackle her. I've played with her and I've played against her, and I must say I'd much rather play with her.
Here she is again with ball in hand, offloading to San Juanita Moreno. These 2 really making up kind of the heart and soul of this team right now.
Absolutely.
much of the second half effort is coming from really heads-up play from these two players.
They are, and you can see that their teammates are inspired by their amazing play, and they are following suit. They are right there adding that support, you know, making that extra effort to get there. That's Sha Blaney picking it up and showing control. That's my girl.
Another Eagle that will be going on this European tour in the coming week. She will be joined by her teammate, San Juanita Marino. And if you would like to support that effort, please do so by donating at www.usarugby.org/women's-eagles. And if you support the Eagles today, your donation can go further because of a very generous and anonymous donor who has agreed to match funds. So please dig deep, open your wallets, and help support the Eagles as they represent us in Europe coming up.
And that was a penalty assessed against ORSU. San Juanita Marino holding on to the ball on the ground. So the Harlequins will take control here with this line out. Referee Leah Berard, assisted by refs Jim Rogers and Mike Kelly, doing an excellent job maintaining this ball game and allowing these players to just play. That's a big tackle there on Tasha Menino.
Number 7. Volley left.
And yet another penalty against ORSU. Penalty count is key.
Another kick to touch here by Heather Hale. We'll see if she can make it to touch. And she does so with ease. We're seeing a bit of a strategy change here by both teams. ORSU now attempting to take quick taps off of the penalties. Atlanta continuing with the lineouts, but really going to a safer front jumper.
Safer option there, yes.
So it seems like maybe we read the minds of the coaches, or they read our minds.
I think they're listening. They're wired to listen to us. And that was actually a beautiful throw to the second jumper in the lineout. Slight mishandle, but Atlanta ends up with possession. And those backs are nicely aligned for Atlanta. Let's see if the ball can get out to them. They are playing from depth. That's some good depth. That's some of the best depth I've seen with the alignment all weekend.
Oh, and unfortunately, ORSU comes out with the ball after a ruck. And we see some very, very strong running by number 5, Te Awina Hochi, who is the captain for this ORSU side.
Yes, Ines. Strong running.
Strong running by a strong leader.
Yeah.
Her team could not say enough nice things about her leadership qualities. So she's really showing that and putting that into action, leading her team by example.
This might be a good opportunity to kick for ORSU. I don't know if it's in their arsenal, but
there is a lot of space back there.
Missed opportunity to kick, but that may have been an advantage. But I think, you know, perhaps it's something that would be called in from the outside, and I have a feeling that there's quite a bit of youth in the back line here.
Yeah.
So they may not be able to see that.
Absolutely, Phaidra. We haven't really seen much from, in terms of kicking, from the ORSU fly half or any other backs, really. But there is a lot of field space behind this Harlequins fullback. And with this wind really not dying down at all in the second half, it really could be the advantage to ORSU if they choose to use it. We'll see whether they have that skill in their arsenal.
Yeah. That's unfortunate. Free kick assessed against ORSU. They won that scrum.
See a quick tap here by Harlequins. A little connection between Heather Hale and Patty Derby, who kicks forward and attempts to reclaim her own kick.
Harlequins end up maintaining possession, but they just lose it in that ruck. Looks like Beckett Royce has retired from 15 and back into the 7 position.
And she really is a very dangerous flanker. It's very interesting that she is playing in the fullback position. Clearly from that fullback position, she's not going to be getting into as many of the scraps as she would be ordinarily. I'm sure that there's a reason for it. I'm sure that that was a decision that was made for a very good reason, but it is interesting to see that they've taken this very powerhouse player out of that tenacious role that she seems to fill so well.
Absolutely. Interesting strategy. If they can get this ball, they may be able to launch again and attack.
Starting to see a little bit of space for these Atlanta backs to run.
A little bit of misfortune, yeah.
Yeah, we had a great run by Tasha Menino. Unfortunately, she passed it to an ORSU player.
And that's Sha Blaney trying to change the tempo of this game for her team. Thank you to Gilbert, World Rugby Shop, Sports Authority, Bank of America, and Hilton Hotels for their support and sponsorship of USA Rugby. I'm Phaidra Knight, and I'm joined by Ines Rodriguez of USA Rugby, and we're here to tell you a story.
Hopefully tell you an exciting story.
Absolutely.
It's been a very exciting second half. We're about just under 20 minutes of play in this Division I final here. Just about 20 minutes have gone by in this second half. And we're seeing two very strong teams come out, two very determined teams, each wanting to walk away with this trophy.
7 points separates these two teams. This game again is not over. It's still going, and these players are still hungry. Still hungry. Scrum put in for ORSU here. And these scrums have been pretty equally matched. We had a couple of penalties assessed, free kicks.
They really have been. We haven't seen much in terms of one team disrupting the other team.
Have a break off early by one of the back row players. On the Harlequins. Those players must stay bound on that scrum until that ball is out. And there's Patty Derby.
We see the very sly Patty Derby.
Creeping in and stealing the ball.
Taking the ball from what looked like was going to be a breakaway by the ORSU backs.
The experience and knowledge of a player like that.
She could read the minds
Absolutely.
of these young players.
She knows what they're going to do.
She's done it 1,000 times before.
Exactly. She knows what they're going to do before they know what they're going to do. So,
Patty Derby, I believe, holds the record for having the most caps for the U.S. women, and is also the leading scorer for both in men and women's rugby in the United States.
Yes, she is.
Maybe I am an old mom.
And still going.
And going. She no longer represents the U.S., but she is really a big leader on this Harlequins side. again, leading by example.
Absolutely. One of the most humble players you'll ever imagine, you know, but by all means, her play is pretty.
Her play speaks for itself.
Pretty exciting,
really.
yeah.
Seeing a bit of a dust up there after the scrum. Harlequins coming out with the ball.
Nice little flip pass back to
Possibly Patty Jervy an opportunity to run, but she is tackled. And here we see a nice offload from the prop to one of the locks.
Kick to herself. Brilliant.
Fullback who
play.
kicks to herself and retrieves it. Is tackled out of bounds.
Lovely play, lovely play. Putting a bit of pressure on ORSU. The wind being a factor with this line out. Thinking we're going to see two jumpers going up for the Harlequins here to contest this ball. It's a perfect opportunity to disrupt and steal and, you know, try to put this game a little further out of the contention for ORSU.
Absolutely. ORSU here has an opportunity to relieve some pressure, but if the Harlequins come up with the ball and are able to score, it really will be the deciding factor that may just take the wind out of these ORSU sails.
And they certainly did disrupt on that line out, and it's a scrum to Harlequins.
This is where ORSU really needs to dig deep and defend their line with everything they have.
Yes, Ines. Those backs, once again, are hungry. They're hungry for that ball. ORSU making it difficult for them to get a clean ball out. Might be a perfect opportunity to swing that ball back weak, but it looks like the Harlequins are continuing on the strong side. And if it works, it's great.
There's a lot of space there for the Harlequin backs. Oh, and a penalty against ORSU. We'll take a quick tap.
Offsides call there.
Try to set up this platform again. Looks like these forwards might try to just bust it in on their own.
Yet another penalty. Now, this is the time when I would be most poised with patience. The tendency and the urgency is to just go.
Absolutely.
But it's organization, plan, and patience that will put them in, but looks like they made their way.
A try being scored by number 15. Kimberly Knight?
Jess Wooden.
Excuse me. Sorry
Jess
about
Wooden.
that. So Jessica, a non-traveling reserve for this European Eagles tour, slots it through.
And that brings the score Atlanta 26, ORSU 14. And Heather Hale's got to get a great opportunity to convert this kick just in front of the post. Just under 30 minutes elapsed in this half. Time's winding down for ORSU. They've definitely got to step up their attack, and they've got to get more disciplined in their loose play and minimize these penalties. These penalties are absolutely killing them at this point.
Absolutely. This conversion by Heather Hale will bring it to 3 converted tries, separating ORSU and Harlequins. 2, excuse me. And she scored.
That kick was good. So that brings our score 28 Atlanta, 14 ORSU.
Still some time left for ORSU to come back.
There's always time. There's always time, right? Even
we're at 25 minutes elapsed in this second half. The question is going to be how poised can ORSU remain as time is winding down and as the opportunities are slipping away.
Poise and discipline. Discipline's the name of the game.
That is a big hit by San Juanita Moreno on Tasha Menino.
Yes, it is. But Harlequins managed to maintain possession. They're there in good support. And they continue to make room on the strong side for their back line to this attack. Nice big hit there.
Heather Hale mishandling the ball, but it goes backwards. And the Harlequins maintain possession. And now we see a break by number 8, Madeline Wilbanks.
Madeline Wilbanks. And unfortunately, they lose that ball, lose possession.
No support for Miss Wilbanks. Unfortunately, led to an ORSU turnover.
On me.
Nice little offload there to the captain. ORSU trying to wage an attack here. Or indeed are waging an attack.
ORSU keeping the ball in tight. While their forward pack trying to set up a platform for their backs to run.
Those backs appear to be hungry to get that ball. Beckett Royce in particular, but unfortunately a little bit of bad luck results in a knock-on handling error. And it's going to bring us to an Atlanta Harlequin scrum down. Well, you know, hats off to ORSU to have worked themselves into this better field position. They're in the red zone of the Harlequins. They could, you know, really come together on a scrum here, force a turnover, and still be in this game. Nice open side, but a potentially troublesome weak side if they can get this ball back and into the hands of San Juanita Moreno.
Absolutely. ORSU has taken one against the head today in today's action, but they do not in this time.
And that's a knock-on against the Harlequins. It's going to result in an ORSU scrum. So now they did indeed get their opportunity, or they're getting their opportunity to give another try. Basics, hands, catching the ball, executing good passes. You know, that's key. And in this win, keeping the passes relatively short is what's going to be most successful for both teams. Atlanta's done, probably between the two teams, Atlanta's done a much better job at handling, minimizing their knock-ons, and getting off some good short passes. It's clearly worked to their advantage.
Absolutely. We've seen a lot more action from the Atlanta backs, being able to break through some of these small holes in the defense.
And ORSU here having a chance to take advantage of a penalty, and they do take a quick tap. That's Shaw Blaney. Connects with their number 7. And I think that'll be a penalty against ORSU for not releasing.
The Harlequins hooker, Keita Sutton, is being attended to right now by medical staff. Hopefully she'll be okay.
I know these players could use a bit of a minute to essentially drink a little water, catch their breath, and rethink things a bit.
These medical minutes can really go either way. We saw a little bit of momentum picked up by ORSU, and this could allow the Harlequins to regroup, reset, and really take over the tone of the game. So we'll see what happens after this, how a player is attended to.
Still at a score, Atlanta at 28, ORSU 14. 14 points separates these two teams with just under 10 minutes to go. Maybe a couple of minutes, give or take, with the injury time. ORSU's going to have to change gears a bit if they're going to have a chance at winning this national championship. Harlequins showing, again, that control and dominance to this point.
Absolutely. Harlequins are taking this opportunity to kick to touch and set the line out. Perhaps an attempt to slow down the pace of the game and really just run the clock out.
They would be smart to do that. They're in full control. They have the lead. They have possession. There is absolutely no rush to make anything happen. That ball does not find touch, but it unfortunately results in a knock-on by ORSU. And we're going to have a scrum to Atlanta.
That is disappointing. That small knock-on by the wing could be a crucial mistake for this ORSU team to take any opportunity to come back in this game.
And it appears that Beckett Royce has moved out from fullback and now is at this number 6 position where she's actually probably most desperately needed, and clearly showing her dominance in that position.
And we see a break by the Harlequins, number 8, who is bouncing off a few tackles.
Yes, she is. Buys her team some time to get there and support as they flip it out to their strength here, the back line, and they're off to the races. Nice little offload to number 15.
We see
and back to number 14, but unfortunately a knock-on once again. So unlucky.
Close.
So unlucky. That was
some very nice ball handling up until that point. We saw 10 to 12 to 13, out to 15, back to 14.
Several pairs of hands touched that ball.
And then someone got very overexcited.
A little overexcited, a little anxious, but that's okay, you know.
She saw the green space, she saw the grass, and saw a try coming her way, and unfortunately
didn't see the ball.
Didn't see the ball.
But nonetheless, puts Atlanta in really good field position, and they can put pressure here on the scrum.
With that break, it really does demonstrate how dangerous those Atlanta backs can be with ball in hand.
You know, that Hale, Jervy, Menino connection is pretty incredible. And number 14 and 15 for Atlanta also doing a great job of connecting, maintaining the ball. And Atlanta has recovered the possession here. And ORSU is on their heels. Handling errors.
A handling error by
Tasha Menino there.
Menino brings a scrum to ORSU. Let's see what they're able to do with this.
Now ORSU in the middle of the field, and this is a midfield scrum.
Just inside their 22.
Great opportunity to attack either side. Weak side maybe either side is actually a threat.
And they choose to run it to the right side. We see a break by number 12.
That's
Anna
a
Simons.
High tackle there by one of the Harlequins, results in a penalty.
She is a strong runner. Strong, dangerous runner.
Strong, dangerous runner, but
hasn't had the ball much today, unfortunately.
but when she has had it, has made quite an impact for ORSU. And again, these handling errors are proving to be the detriment of this ORSU team. Scrum to Atlanta. Nice drive there by ORSU, putting the pressure on Atlanta. Ball comes rolling out and is out in the hands of Patty Jervy, who tries to make something happen, runs it back to her forwards for support, safety, security, smart. And a nice kick there by Heather Hale to relieve a little bit of pressure off the Harlequins. She didn't have all her backs back there with her, and that was a very smart decision. Goes out straight. She was in front of the 22, so that ball comes back to the point of where she kicked. And ORSU now having an opportunity to put themselves in a good position to score. Again, I'm going to give a big thanks to our sponsors, Emirates Airlines, Gatorade, Canterbury, and AIG. And also a thank you to Gilbert, World Rugby Shop, Sports Authority, Bank of America, and Hilton Hotels. I am Phaidra Knight, joined by Ines Rodriguez of USA Rugby, and we are here at the 2012 USA Rugby Emirates Airlines Division I National Championship.
And this championship drawn to a close. We might have maybe 5 minutes left in play, depending on what the referee's watch says after a few injury minutes. Time is running out for this ORSU team to be able to close this gap.
And the support is just not there. Those forwards for ORSU looking a little bit tired. Their player is forced to hold on to the ball and consequently penalized, and it ends up in a turnover to the Harlequins.
ORSU coming up with the ball after a ruck that they're able to steal. And number 3, Adriana Costa, who has really shown herself to be quite a force in this team's play today, has a small break and is able to offload it.
And ORSU again not laying down and dying. They continue to try to pound away at this Harlequin defense.
Clearly ORSU, a team not ready to lay down and just allow the Atlanta Harlequins to walk away with this championship.
No, sir, they are not.
Ball is spread out wide.
Hit
and
off
that's
there.
Unfortunate.
Yeah, it is. That's Liz Snodgrass going. She's got a little bit of support there. Nice running.
Very nice running. Big
Nice,
break.
big
Nice
break.
support
That's
by
number.
the hooker.
Yeah, and Shaw Blaney's going to make her run for it, and she does. She makes her way down. That's number 2, Keita Sutton. Number 2, Keita Sutton with that try for the Harlequins. Shaw Blaney tried to catch her, but she had too much momentum going.
And that has to be a very heartbreaking turn of events for this ORSU team. Clearly knocking on the door, ready to score a try, ready to close that gap, and just to have a ball picked off by that sneaky number 7, Liz Snodgrass, who just came through and had a beautiful breakaway, supported by number 2, Keita
And the
Sutton.
exact same thing just happened on the adjacent field. A Beantown player just picked the ball off of an Amazon player and scored. So, you know, it's an unfortunate, sometimes it's just bad luck, you know.
Bad luck or great defense.
Or great
by these,
defense.
cherry picking.
Absolutely.
Defenders.
These cherry-picking defenders. Oh, and Heather Hale's setting up for this conversion to convert this score of 33-14.
can't be much time left in this game. It may be full time.
And that kick is good, bringing us to a score 35, Atlanta, 14, ORSU. Yeah, there has to be very few
40
minutes.
of regulation time, and now it's just going to come down to the referee and how much injury time she has recorded onto watch.
Yes, Ines.
But time has run out for this ORSU side.
Tell you, Atlanta, you know, perfect season just as ORSU, but they came into this match full steam ahead, scoring first, maintaining enough discipline and poise to minimize their penalties in the first half, and have come out in the second half and have not let up.
Absolutely. They are just showing themselves to be quite the team today, having really great ball handling and ball retention through their forwards, being able to spread it wide and have such dangerous runners on the outside. They really were the better team today.
Absolutely, and just seamless in terms of the play between the forwards and the backs. Very just amazing support throughout, and that's what wins championships. That's what wins championships, minimizing penalties and playing together, you know, taking advantage of those opportunities. They've done a great job at it. But it hasn't been because ORSU hasn't tried. They've definitely put the effort in. Just got unlucky in some calls, got unlucky in some phases of play, and it just didn't come together for them today.
Absolutely. You have to wonder if they're going to be second-guessing some of their game strategies from the first half. Kind of a slow game. Both teams electing to really slow down the game and kick to touch despite this wind. Perhaps that was, you know, something that the coaching staff and the captains can just revisit today after this game. But a very good effort by both teams.
Amazing effort. Great ball game today. Definitely put on a show for the spectators here. And now we're out again to the Speedsters.
Bit of a break here by the Harlequins backs, and miscommunication in the passing gives ORSU the ball back, and now we see San Juanita Marino running with the ball, fending off some defenders.
And that's Harlequin player number 4 not rolling away from that tackle, resulting in an ORSU penalty. A lot of frustrations mounting here as we get through the game.
This ORSU team really wants to put a score on the board and show that they are a better team than this scoreline would dictate. And that is full time.
That is full time. And Atlanta has clinched the D1 National Championship. Well played match by both teams. Hats off to ORSU for an extraordinary effort. But at the end of the day, Atlanta proved to be the stronger team, dotting down 35 points to bring the score 35 Atlanta, 14 ORSU.
Absolutely. Two very good teams, one well-fought match, but the Atlanta Harlequins clearly the better team on this day.
We want to thank you for joining us today for the 2012 Emirates Airlines USA Rugby Division I Women's National Championship. I am Phaidra Knight, joined by Ines Rodriguez of USA Rugby. You should definitely stick around for the WPL final.
We're going to be taking a short 2-minute break, and we'll be back to you with some player interviews and some coach interviews with the winning team. So please stick with us.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Line up on me. It's going to be three people. Oh, you want me to do a test? Okay, I'm Ines Rodriguez, reporting from the sideline. Division 1 championship. So we're going to have two people in that.
I was wondering if you were doing this sort of thing.
Yeah, it's me.
Bring the baby?
No, I'm sorry, what's your name? Hello, I'm Ines Rodriguez here standing with Heather Hale, our captain from the winning Atlanta Harlequins side, joined by Jason Payne, our coach. Coach, can you tell me, what kind of strategy did you guys have coming into this game?
We're just trying to stick to our pattern of play the girls have been using all year, just believing in that, working the phases of play, and they stuck to it, and they took the pressure, and I'm very proud.
Was there anything that you had your players change at halftime? Because it seemed like they might have played two different games, one in the first half, one in the second half. So how did you change that strategy?
No, we didn't change. We just talked a little bit more about retaining ball a bit better, being a little bit more undisciplined, less penalties at the breakdown, more pressure up, and then just relax and get into our patterns and keep the pressure coming. And I think our ball retention was a little bit better. We handled the pressure well in the second half and took the gaps that were there.
Thank you. Heather, congratulations. You must be very excited. How much was the wind a factor in this game for you?
Wind was a big factor. You noticed that the two halves looked different. The first half we could take advantage of the boot, obviously. In the second half, the distribution was easier because of the wind. The ball came to our players, if that makes any sense.
Absolutely, and that's what we talked about up in the booth. How did not playing, how did having one game today affect your team in positive or negative? Just having one game this weekend.
I think we were making our coach a little bit nervous because there was so much energy throughout. We got here Thursday night and Friday, Saturday, all of that was ramping up, so it was kind of hard not to play. But obviously we were relatively fresh stepping on the field.
Well, wonderful. You guys looked like the better team out there, and congratulations on a great match.